searching for even colder weather. All right. Okay. Well, to respect everybody's time and to take advantage of the time we have together and to use it to its fullness, we'll get going, and want to welcome everyone who is emerging in this time together, this webinar sponsored by Sherman Park Eco and Sherman Park Community Association and the Milwaukee Eco Office. We'll hope that some more people will come on board. We are hoping, as we move forward into this year and we continue to do our webinars and other events, that we'll get the word out much quicker so that people can put it on their calendars. But I'm Tim Perkins. I'm a Sherman Park resident. I'm one of the Sherman Park Eco ambassadors, and I am hosting tonight, but we're going to have presentations from 3 of our eco partners: Joe Fitzgerald from Milwaukee Water Commons, Kevin Kane from Green Homeowners United, and Nicole Chavez, who represents both Milwaukee Riverkeeper and Plastic Free Milwaukee. So welcome to everyone, and we're going to spend our time tonight hearing presentations from Joe and Kevin and Nicole. And even though there are only a few of us at this point, probably because we weren't able to get the word out as quickly as we would have liked, just so everybody knows that this will be recorded and will be available on the Sherman Park Community Association website. So the information will not be lost, and the importance of having that information videotaped so that it can be shared on into the coming year and beyond. But so another part of this evening will be to have an open conversation with those who are gathered about future webinars, and to encourage everybody to put some important dates on their calendar, and then to talk about next steps in community engagement and our initiative to...
I'm upside down.
Speaking of upside down.
And you're upside down.
Speaking of upside down.
I haven't seen that before.
Remember, Ann, this is all caught on videotape now. So, the importance of our work together. So I want to just start by thanking the people who have been participating in our webinars, including everybody tonight. Thanking our partners, including Nicole and her partner, Leah Holloway from Milwaukee Riverkeeper and Plastics Free, and Joe Fitzgerald and partners from Milwaukee Water Common and Kevin Kane and his group, along with Dynasty Caesar and Eric Schomburger from the Milwaukee Environmental Collaborative Office, who are our main partners. But I will also want to just begin by thanking Mabel Lamb and Jermaine Alexander, our wonderful staff at Sherman Park Community Association, for, especially you, Mabel, for all your efforts, but Jermaine, of course, as well, for all the work that he does around housing. So thanks to everyone who has been participating, and thanks to all the ways that everyone here and in our community is seeking to build a stronger, more peaceful, and more environmentally friendly and just community. So we give thanks for everyone. So again, that'll be the agenda. Joe will be sharing about some sharing an exciting announcement and the work of Milwaukee Water Common with Sherman Park Eco and the SPCA and the Eco Office. And then Kevin will be talking about some opportunities for people to take advantage of, and how Green Homeowners United can help connect them with those opportunities through the city. And then Nicole will talk about Plastic Free Milwaukee and how we can all become involved in reducing the amount of plastic in Milwaukee and beyond. And then we'll end up with our ambassadors, talking about next webinars and our future initiatives. So again, welcome to everyone, and let us embark on this evening of environmental work together. So I'd like to introduce Joe Fitzgerald, who is with Milwaukee Water Common, and Joe has an exciting announcement to make. And Joe, take it away.
Absolutely. I think the first exciting announcement is that it's great to be here with you all. Just really appreciate the continued partnership with this group, and to see folks coming out to these webinars every time and really engaged with this work. So it's great to be here. I always want to do those introductions here on Zoom when I don't have a PowerPoint up or something, but I will put a presentation up right now. So bear with me while I'm doing that. Should be pretty quick. Is everybody able to see? Yep, getting some head nods. Awesome. So thanks everybody. Again, this is not the first engagement I've had with this group, but very excited to make some announcements about some new projects that we have going on, connecting with Sherman Park Eco Initiative and the Sherman Park Community Association. So I'm Joe Fitzgerald. I'm here with Milwaukee Water Commons. Milwaukee Water Commons is an environmental nonprofit organization here in the city of Milwaukee. We're over, and I'm over right now actually, in our offices off of Fond du Lac Avenue near Johnson's Park and Alice's Garden, in the Adams Garden Park building, which is a pretty cool, exciting environmental complex over here. But we are a cross-city network that fosters connection, collaboration, and broad community leadership on behalf of our waters. I often say that the work that Milwaukee Water Commons does is to try to connect communities around the city of Milwaukee based on our shared relationship to water. We promote the stewardship of equitable access to and shared decision-making for our common waters here in Milwaukee, the three rivers, our lakes, the water we drink, the water we bathe in. It's something that's shared by all of us. Our vision is that Milwaukee is a model water city where we all have a stake and say in the health of our waters, and we share in the care and the benefits. We try to organize our programs as such to engage communities and empower leadership around Milwaukee to speak on behalf of our water and our relationship to it. We organize with the frameworks of the Hermes principles, which they're definitely worth looking up and reading into some shared agreements around how to organize in communities and prioritize justice. We organize with collective impact, recognizing that we don't need to recreate the wheel. We really need to be moving towards shared goals together. We organize around the commons, understanding things like water are really, more than just a resource. There's something that we live with, that we all live with and have a relationship to and a stake in. And we organize using community engagement as a priority for our frameworks, community engagement and community leadership in our programs. So today, though, I'm here to talk about the Branch Out Milwaukee campaign, and especially our exciting announcement is that we have some additional funding to do some specific work in the Sherman Park neighborhoods through the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. So we're really excited about this. It's the Sherman Park Urban Forestry Grant is what it's officially called. I think we're just really excited to be able to build off of conversations and work that we've been having with the Sherman Park Community Association, Sherman Park Eco Neighborhood Initiative over the last number of years, and have continued with the partnership here also with the City of Milwaukee Environmental Collaboration Office. And through this project, we'll also be partnering with the City of Milwaukee Forestry Division. And I'll talk more about the specifics of what's in that grant in a minute, but just wanted to forecast that this call is really about, or my presentation here is to talk about this project that we're going to be rolling out here in 2022 in Sherman Park. We're really excited to be able to do that. The focus is on trees and green spaces. And so before I start talking about the project components and some of the stuff we're working on this year, I wanted to start off by talking a little bit about why are we talking about trees. and how important trees actually are to public health and to environmental health. And so Milwaukee Water Commons has been working with partners around the city on organizing around trees for some time. And through a lot of shared learning, especially for me, I've learned about some benefits of trees that I think are really important to share with folks. Some of the ones especially that relate to Milwaukee Water Commons and its mission as an environmental organization that works on water issues is that trees, I have some graphics here that talk about kind of water and how it falls into a city versus an area that has a lot of green spaces. And so when rain falls onto the city, you often see water flowing into storm drains that eventually go to either the sewage treatment plant or directly into rivers, and eventually directly into the lake. And so having trees and other things like gardens, green spaces, kind of get in the way on the path between water falling to the ground and going into those storm drains. And that's a really good thing because it filters out things that are on the ground, whether that's, stuff that's kind of fallen out of our cars, other kinds of pollutants and things like that, or if it's, trash and garbage and stuff like that. And it's easier to clean that stuff up while it's on land rather than in water. And so we try to have that happen as much as possible. Trees also are trees and green spaces. Another way they're doing that is through holding water on the landscape, and that helps to prevent flooding as well because it holds water where it falls. And so when we think about issues like basement backups or flooding in the street when there's a large rain event, having things like trees and other green spaces can really reduce some of those flooding issues. And the last thing that we think about quite a bit too is reducing the impacts of it, helping to reduce the impacts of climate change, which I know over the last year, especially, we've seen a lot of major storms coming into Milwaukee, actually knocking down trees and causing issues. And so trying to do our part to impact climate change is another priority for us. There's also a number of public health benefits to having trees and green spaces. Trees, filter air. Having plants in your house makes the air quality in your house cleaner. It's the same for having trees outside. They filter out air, or filter our air, particulates that might, affect somebody who has asthma, or affect other respiratory issues that folks have. That's a big deal. Other public health things that can affect cardiovascular diseases. It affects mental health. It's really a beneficial thing just to public health in general. And it also, having trees on a hot summer day creates a lot more shade, and it can cool down the temperatures as well. Having shade over your house on those hot days can reduce your energy bill, limit how much air conditioning you need throughout the summer months. But also having trees and green spaces create employment opportunities for folks to be planting trees or maintaining trees that exist around the city. And they also, create opportunities as we're planting trees for communities to come together and create public spaces. Parks, orchards, things like that. We can have fresh food in our yards and in gardens by having apple trees, pear trees, however, and as long as we are doing the funding to pay folks to maintain those spaces, those are living wage jobs as well. So recognizing all of these benefits of trees, Milwaukee Water Commons for some time has been working on a project with partners around the city called the Branch Out Milwaukee campaign. And the focus of this has really been to try to increase the city's canopy. So increase the number of trees that exist in Milwaukee, but to do so really with a focus on paying attention to the maintenance, so that we're avoiding hazards like trees falling onto houses or roofs or cars. And then also really focusing on where trees are and where they aren't. Because when we look at the coverage of trees around the city, there are some neighborhoods that have more trees and there are some that have less. And oftentimes, it's lower income communities and communities of color that have fewer trees. And that's an environmental justice issue. When we look at the benefits that trees can have on public health, on environmental health, we want that to be something that's universally shared. And so we think we focus on equity. We focus on sustainability of the trees that are planted by focusing also on the maintenance and thinking about how we're planting trees in different spaces can have a positive impact, not just on our community today, but also for younger folks who are growing up in Milwaukee. And we're planting smaller trees now, but when they're older, their kids will be climbing on those trees. We think about the multi-dimensional impacts. So I talked a little bit about the economic impact, the public health, the environmental impacts. And then the other piece is to really try to focus on respect as we're entering into communities, to prioritize community leadership. When we're working with institutions, to prioritize sharing power, to change the way that we're approaching doing work in neighborhoods, so that it's the neighbors who are leading on how work is being done around the city. So with that background, I guess I wanted to talk a little bit more specifically about the Sherman Park project and what we have going on here this year in Sherman Park. This is a huge opportunity for Milwaukee Water Commons, and we're really excited about it because we've been working with you all for a couple of years now. And this is a time for us to really, take what we've been learning about trees and try to implement it in a neighborhood and do it in partnership with you all. And so the grant that we applied for to the Department of Natural Resources has a few different components that we'll be working on throughout the year with everyone. One of those is to do tree plantings on a few public lots. And so we're especially looking, the group has been especially looking at trying to do some tree plantings along Center Street, replicating kind of what we did last year. We shared this in a couple webinars last year, that there was a tree planting event and a tree blessing. That's what the picture is here, is of the tree blessing, if folks remember that day, on 55th and Center. And those trees were planted and continued to be watered throughout the year. And just really excited to be able to bring those, try to create more of those spaces and bring folks together around doing tree plantings in the neighborhood. I think a big focus of this project is also around assistance with tree maintenance. I talked quite a bit about the importance of planting trees, but also the importance of paying attention to making sure we have the resources to maintain the trees that we do plant or that are planted already. And especially this last year with the storms that we saw knocking trees down all around the city, taking out people's power. It's hard to advocate for planting more trees when trees are falling on people's houses. And so this is a priority for us to try to have funding to really pay attention to maintenance. And to do that by funding professionals to do some of the work of assessing trees on folks' properties, and to be able to help with the removing branches that look like they might break off, or do trimming and pruning and things like that. So we have funding in this grant to try to begin to connect with some residents in the Sherman Park neighborhood and to subsidize some of that, those tree assessments and tree maintenance. And are looking forward to continuing to roll out both of those components, probably starting more in the spring as it gets a little bit warmer, and as we can really get out and have more public engagement and community events. Another thing that we'll be able to do, or that we're planning to do throughout the year, is to begin to build an inventory of trees in Sherman Park. So this is essentially trying to really get a catalog of what trees do exist, putting those on the map and representing, especially for trees on private property, where are there trees and where are there not, and what trees are they? And then the last component that I'm most excited about is establishing a neighborhood tree board in Sherman Park. And so the goal here will be to gather a group of residents together to really speak to and guide these projects that we're working on here in the neighborhood. And so we're hoping to speak with folks in the neighborhood and recruit to join on a tree board, which will essentially be advisory to these projects, and hopefully moving forward working with groups like City Forestry or the Department of Natural Resources when they have projects that are going to affect the neighborhood as well. really quick, just to close things out before I let folks ask questions or before we get into the next presentation. I just wanted to talk a little bit about ways to get involved. For folks on this call, 100% reach out and contact me just to learn more about the project. I'll have my contact information on the next slide, and I'm really looking forward to getting out and talking to folks more about the project and implementation. But also, think about joining the neighborhood tree board if this is something you're interested in. If some of these projects sound like something you want to speak into or help us decide how to implement, we're looking for folks to join that group. There's some trainings that will be involved in that, but yeah, I'd be excited to talk more about that. As we move into the year and things get a little warmer, we're going to be hoping to do some of this tree inventory, especially at folks' homes. And so when we're doing events, we'll kind of advertise this as an opportunity. If you have a tree in your yard, we'd love to come measure it and put it on a map. So if you're willing to help out, let us know, send me your name, and I'll come by and make that happen. And then also, as we're planting trees in the spring especially, and then moving forward, trying to make sure that we're making sure that those trees are healthy. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on the trees that are planted, and maybe help us out with watering. We're going to be trying to talk to folks about, we'll be contracting as much of the watering as we can do this year, but hopefully talking to folks about, adding a cup or a gallon of water into to help water trees as well, and just make sure on the hot days that they're staying healthy. And as we're having tree planting events, come out, show support, and help us out if you're interested. So here's my contact information, and I'm also open to any questions. I think I have at least a couple minutes left for that. So
You do.
awesome.
All right. Thank you, Joe. And an additional thanks to Joe for all the good work he did to help those of us who were caring for the new trees planted at the little space next to the post office on 55th and Center. And it's nice to have you with us tonight, Dr. Potts, with the Center Street Business Improvement District. And thank you for your partnership with this as well. So, and we recognize Janet Pritchard, who was very instrumental in working with Joe and Mabel and the Green Ambassadors and Joe, you didn't mention how much the grant was for.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, it's a $25,000 grant. And then there is also a double that for matching funds. A lot of that was in-kind donations. And so, but yes, so there's funding for each of those components as well.
Yeah. And I noticed that Sherry in the chats, Sherry, thanks for saying you're interested in all areas. So any reflections, Jennifer, do you have anything you want to say related to the project? And
I actually think it's a wonderful initiative. I'm just, very happy to be a part of this, what small role we have played. So I saw all the hard work go into it, and it's noticeable, and just the educational component for myself and the other individuals that have been kind of tagging along. Definitely is right in the Center Street Business Improvement District. So we consider ourselves a strong partner in this initiative and other initiatives. And so, we're building, we, are definitely, we have a big, strong push, some new board members, a lot of new life on Center Street. And so individuals that want to help out and that are signing up for committees that we're going to be shepherding through to actual live committees, not just that we're trying to put together, but work that is being done. So thank you very much for allowing us to be here and investing on Center Street. Wow.
yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Looking forward to the partnership in the community.
Yes,
Good. So any other comments or questions of Joe? We have a few more minutes.
Sherry has her hand up, Jim.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sherry, go ahead.
Oh,
Sherry, unmute yourself.
Hi. No, I apologize. That was supposed to be a thumbs up.
Oh,
Awesome.
but thank you for being somebody who's interested in this whole project. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that when we planted the trees at 55th and Center, we did have a bit of a contract with a subcontractor connected with another, what was it, Lindsay Heights or Walnut Way?
Walnut Way.
And so they would make sure the bags were filled around the trees, and then we would supplement with volunteers who would come over with bottles of water. So that's mainly what we're talking about when Joe's talking about when we say when trees are planted, we're probably going to need some volunteers to supplement the watering from a contractor, because they would probably come once a week and fill the bags, and then we would, make sure they're filled to the proper amount. And Joe's very good at explaining when you should and shouldn't water. And then the trees that are like a city tree that's between the street and your sidewalk, those wouldn't be part of the program, right, Joe? Because it's not your own personal tree.
No, they wouldn't. But it is a good point I appreciate you bringing that up, because it is a good point to remind folks to pay attention to that on hot days. Watering those trees is a good idea because the city doesn't do it.
And we've talked about that. That could be really central to our initiative to educate people about how to take care of their blocks, their trees, their neighborhood. So part of tree care education.
And just learning what kind of a tree do you have in your yard or near you, so that you can kind of be at one with your tree.
Yeah. Yes, at one with your tree. That'll be a good word. So the only other thing I would like to add, and then Joe, if you have any other final comments, big part of this and our overall initiative is working with the community association and the bids and ECO and Milwaukee Water Common in this case, and other organizations to try to generate green jobs, to employ neighbors and educate neighbors about working with organizations like Northcott Community Center, which has an young arborists program, those kinds of things to try to educate the community and maybe inspire some young people to get into environmentally related jobs. And that's something that Kevin has been doing through Green Homeowners as well. So any other comments? Joe, do you have any final words
I
of
have
wisdom?
a quick question.
Yes, right. Lauren.
Question on the tree inventory. At one of our eco meetings, I think a link to it or something was shared, because I've looked at it once and I don't know how to get to it again. But I know that I looked it up, and a lot of the city, because they mentioned a lot of the city trees are actually recorded in them. So that's why more of the concern is for the private trees. But mine is wrong. So how do we let people, how do we change the tree inventory? And I don't know about the neighbors' yards, but I know my yard, and I know that the city's trees are marked wrong.
That's good to know. Yeah, so I think if that's, well, for one thing, yeah, there is a link online that you can get. In fact, if I can find it real quick here, I'll put it in the chat for folks to look at. It's the community tree map that's hosted by the DNR. I would say, Lauren, the best way for us to correct that is probably we can survey it as a part of this project and let the DNR know that some of those are off.
So oh, excuse me, Joe, go ahead.
I was going to say we can let city forestry know as well, because I think that they're the ones who updated that inventory. So we'll make sure to bring that up.
So this is the official announcement of the grant, and some of the key partners in the early stages have started to gather, facilitated by Joe. So you'll be hearing more and more about this over the coming months as we move toward the planting of the trees in the spring. So we'll look forward to further updates and more opportunities for people to be engaged with this project. So thank you, Joe. Thank you, Milwaukee Water Common. Thank you for all our partners, and thank you to Mabel and SPCA for partnering with Joe and the forestry department. And so wonderful. All right. So, I just somewhat gave Kevin a little bit of an introduction. We've heard from Kevin over the last year a couple of times related to Green Homeowners United and some of the opportunities to upgrade our houses and make them more energy efficient. And there's some exciting opportunities and resources available for people still into in this year. And Kevin's going to bring us an update. So Kevin Kane from
Awesome.
Green Homeowners United.
It's great to see a lot of familiar faces. I'm very excited to be here and excited that you guys keep trying to see if we can make the world and especially Sherman Park greener. I'm also pretty excited because we have a couple of celebrities here, as you're about to see. The city of Milwaukee has put a big effort into try to encouraging more and more people to upgrade their homes. A few of you here, I've had the blessing to visit your home, perhaps even work on your home, or perhaps soon we'll have the chance to. But the city has put out a new video, which we're going to start showing right now. It's relatively new. I encourage you to find it, and we'll send the link around where other people can see not just why all this matters, upgrading your home to fight climate change, but it actually helps, point out some of the beautiful homes in Sherman Park. So I'm going to go ahead and share it right now. And right now we are on the City of Milwaukee's ECO office. That's city.milwaukee.gov/eco, the ME2 program. If you go down, you'll learn more about this new rebate program that has now been extended until March 31st. We will go into more detail about this shortly. Before I do, though, I want to make sure to draw attention to a little video. So please let me know if for whatever reason the sound is not working correctly.
My name is Steve O'Connell, and we've lived in this house for 36 years. Some of the problems we've had with our house is just the age of the house and basically the leakiness of the house. We decided, Ann and I, because we've been talking about especially insulation and our new furnace, how to begin to make our house less drafty. The ME2 program really got us focused on what we needed to do. And then once we evaluated the house, then we knew what we needed.
We get a lot of questions from people reaching out to us wondering what can they do in their home to cut utility bills, to make their home more comfortable, to help address climate change at home. And almost inevitably, the first thing I tell them is it's time to get an energy assessment, because there are so many things that take place underneath one roof, and it's important to know what those all are. So when you have a professional contractor who has a background in energy assessment come to your home, they're going to look at things like your water heater, your furnace, but also your insulation, windows, walls itself. And we're going to use tests to determine, do you have air leaks in the home? Where is heat being lost? It's very scientific to help people identify what improvements can they make that hit that great aim of good for the person, good for the planet, to save money and reduce carbon emissions.
The assessment, we really didn't know what to expect. With our new windows and a new furnace and things of that nature, new air conditioner, things should be pretty good. It wasn't. Once we started the assessment, we were amazed at how many drafty areas we had in the house.
The one thing that we tell people is we will happily let you know where improvements in your house can be made. We often can help you, but you don't have to work with us necessarily. There are many tremendously talented contractors all throughout Milwaukee and Milwaukee County. We will show you with much of the diagnostic equipment that we have where that heat loss is, where the air leakages are, and we'll write a report for you that shows you what steps maybe you can take yourself. For the kind of do-it-yourself kind of person, we'll show it to you and make sure that you feel that we are giving you as much information as possible, because the important thing is you act. Not that you have to go with any one company.
If we really want to help our ecology, we have to start at home. Your house has to be well sealed. Your house has to be ecologically sound. And if we're wasting a lot of electricity, we're wasting a lot of heat, that's energy that really should not be wasted, especially in older homes like ours. But Sherman Park, these houses are gorgeous. And if we can get these houses sealed and these houses much more ecologically sound, I think we'll help out the universe, literally.
Thank you, Ann and Steve. That was awesome, and awesome the shout out Sherman Park in that too. And Steve has helped tell a whole ton of people about why all this matters, which is great. Which is why we're very excited that the city is extending their ME2 rebate program. But I'm also sharing some relatively new information about what is maybe happening to our homes because of the federal infrastructure bill. A lot of the attention on infrastructure got on things like pipes and roads and buildings and things like that, but there are some components that will impact us on homes, and it might make sense for us to know what those are, because getting an energy assessment of your home or your office or your church or your multifamily building or whatever it is can make you eligible for new rebates, new financing options, green financing. Basically, the administration wants to upgrade millions of homes, and this is really the time that it's happening. And so, just to go over this a bit, Green Homeowners United, we're a social enterprise with the mission of fighting climate change in homes, helping people understand what improvements make sense, and to create those living wage jobs doing so, to create real careers and not just gigs. And so we've really set out to do that. And energy assessments are our way of helping people identify what things they can do. What things should they do? Because while there are many ways to fight climate change, one of the nice things about home upgrades is that they tend to pay for themselves over time. So you're not being asked to, stop flying or stop eating meat. As important as those things may be, this is a way to say, let's figure out how to save you money and fight climate change at the same time. And it helps that, according to climate experts, upgrading homes to be energy efficient is the single biggest thing that the National Resource Defense Council found that society should do to fight climate change. It's the number one thing. We should be screaming this from the rooftops, especially considering that does not even include solar panels. It does not even include what's known as electrifying homes, getting off of natural gas. What it means is your windows, your insulation, your heating system, your cooling, your light bulbs, your smart thermostat, the little things that they really add up. And it means that homes are the most important part of fighting climate change, and we need to do all of them. And so our job is to help people figure that out. And we're very excited that people across the state have been exciting to or really interested in upgrading their home. And we've helped uncover special rebates, special tax credits, grants, financing options to really make this affordable to people who assumed this was out of reach. We have worked all over the state of Wisconsin in the last year, and soon we may actually be helping people outside of Wisconsin in the very near future, which we're pretty excited by, because we've been able to bring green mortgages now to 50 states. But it started here in Wisconsin. So first off, what the heck does an energy assessment do? What is this about? Well, we look at everything from the water heater to your windows, to your insulation levels, your attic, your basement, your crawl space, your whatever it is, to let you know how you can save money, cut carbon emissions, and improve your building. And again, this can be done for duplexes, homes, apartment complexes, churches, offices, just about any building can improve its energy use. And believe me, if you've seen some of the leaky, homes that I have seen where there are holes in the building that I could fit through, and I'm not a small man, then you will understand how important this really is. And by the way, that video we just showed, you can find it right here at greenhomeownersunited.com/ME2 video, as well as you can sign up directly right there for an energy assessment through that link. One of the things you're going to see on a home is something called the Department of Energy Home Energy Score. Our assessments will actually not just tell you what you can do, but will rank your home against every other home nationwide for its energy use, giving you a roadmap of where your house is now, how can I become better than average, and how can I eventually become one of the most energy efficient homes nationwide. We'll show you those steps. And that's the kind of fun thing about all this stuff. And I'll tell you, it's a process. I do this for a living, and my home is not yet a 10, but we have helped people get to a 10. And it is something that we all can do, and we should be telling others. This isn't something you should just be doing alone. So the benefits are getting an energy assessment. These, by the way, tend to cost, by most energy assessors, anywhere from $300 to $800 per home for an energy assessment, depending. Many companies do them. We're not the only ones. But just to give you an idea across the nation what they tend to cost. But having one can help unlock special rebates and grants for you. It can unlock special green financing, both of which I'll explain in a minute. But more importantly, it helps you know what improvements might make the most sense. Does solar make sense in my home? Should I consider a new furnace or new windows if I only have a certain amount of money to spend? What is going to have a bigger impact? That's what this is about, is figuring this out. Additionally, you can get optional add-ons to learn how drafty the house is and what you to do about it. Or you can track the quality of the air you breathe. This is a newer thing that we are doing, to track the quality of the indoor air to make sure that any sleep or respiratory issues like asthma or allergies, we help identify them in the home and provide recommendations in that way. And we will go over the results with you by video to answer questions, to go over what you're eligible for, and really to help advocate for you. That's the point of this. You're not alone. You're part of a group of green homeowners who are trying to do the right thing by the planet and their home. The cool thing is the research is pretty clear. Energy assessments are always a good idea. Freddie Mac, the secondary mortgage market institution, found in a couple of years ago that assessed homes sold for about 2.7% more than comparable unassessed, unrated homes. You got to show the assessment to the person you're trying to sell to, but it's been found to increase the amount they're willing to pay. To put that in context, that's about $4,500 for the average city of Milwaukee home. So we like to say these energy assessments tend to pay for themselves. Of course, we want people to act on the results, so they actually cut some carbon. They also found that better rated homes sold for more than lower rated homes. So the more we make our homes energy efficient, the more we're rewarded for doing so. And another study by a group called the American Council for Energy Efficient Economy, see that home energy score we showed in the corner, 1 through 10? They found for every 1 point you increased your home and showed home buyers, it increased the home buyers' willingness to pay by about 5 to 6%. So more than twice what that one above is. The more we upgrade our home, the more we're doing right by the planet, but the more we're helping ourselves and our families as well. Additionally, more and more institutions are starting to pay attention to this. Real estate appraisers, the Appraisal Institute, actually created their own way of tracking and advising appraisers. How do you value homes based on their residential green energy efficiency, water efficiency improvements? And so there's green certifications for realtors too. There's all sorts of efforts that we're trying to do to recognize and prioritize green homes. In some communities in the nation, you are required to get an energy assessment if you want to sell your home in Minneapolis, in Portland, in Austin. You have to. But for here, we want to encourage everyone to do so, but it's not required yet. Maybe it should be. So let's get to this, what this means, why this especially matters here in Milwaukee. Right now, there are a series of ME2 rebates. The city of Milwaukee has these new rebate programs called the Milwaukee Energy Efficiency, ME2. It's a rebate/grant program designed to reduce the cost of upgrades. But I want to tell you right now, it is not designed to make them free. I cannot tell you how many phone calls I've gotten from people assuming I'm going to give them a free furnace. That's not what this is about. The goal here is to encourage people to take action now while it's cold, while they're in this idea of insulation and heating. However, they have to get the work done by March 31st. So we encourage people to call us, call the city, any of the contractors that are on the city's website. Like I said in the video, it doesn't matter who you go with, us or someone else, just so long as you act. So to give you an idea, some of the rebates are $500 off air sealing the home to make it less drafty, $500 off insulating the attic, $500 off a new high efficiency boiler or furnace, $1,000 off replacing the air conditioner central AC unit with what's known as a heat pump, which is a super efficient heating or air conditioner that can also provide heat outside of the furnace. So more and more people are going to actually getting off furnaces completely. And they'll throw in an extra $1,000 off if you do a new HVAC system, heater, or furnace, boiler, heat pump, as well as air sealing and insulating together to have that huge impact on your carbon emissions. So up to $3,000 off for upgrades the city will do. Although, again, I want to stress, this is about reducing the price. This is not about making them free. However, you actually are required under the city's rules to have an energy assessment to qualify for some of these things. So those energy assessments I talked about, they help unlock some of these things. So wait, you might be saying, hey, you know what? Rebates are great, but I can't really afford to upgrade big things in my home. I just don't have the money. Rebates, that's great. If I still have a bill, though, I don't think I can do it. Well, actually, you might be able to, thanks to a couple of green fair financing programs, where the savings on your utility bills help pay for the cost of the improvements spread out over time, with the idea that you move who you pay away from, let's say, We Energies, and a little bit more to who's ever helping financing the program. So, for example, you can get a green mortgage or turn your current home mortgage into a green mortgage to help cover the cost of that. And I know because my house was one of them. There's ways to help with 0% interest payment plans to at least spread the cost out over a period of time, a payment plan. This is the new one, though. There will be a new revolving green loan fund to be launched and run here in the state of Wisconsin, thanks to the federal infrastructure law that passed in November. This is the big new one. This is the one that is not yet figured out, and why getting in line and helping draw attention to this might help make sure that the state of Wisconsin runs a very good green loan fund. So just to go through green mortgages, the idea is it adds an extra 15% of the value of your home into your mortgage for energy efficiency improvements, like solar panels, insulation, air sealing, heating systems, water efficiencies, windows, whatever has been recommended by an energy assessor. It works when someone wants to buy a home, or if their current mortgage rate is about a 3.5% interest or higher now. If it's higher than that, it's a pretty good chance that this will work for you. Or if you're buying. And so if you know someone who's considering buying a home, even if they have a realtor, even if they have a bank lined up, we can show them how they may be able to take advantage of this green mortgage too. We have more and more banks signing up all the time. The central idea is that for every $1 added by the lender into the mortgage, utility bills are slated to decrease by by more than $1. So as you can kind of see here, if this is your normal house, you're paying some for your mortgage, you're paying a fair amount for your utilities. Under a green mortgage, you might pay a little bit more for your mortgage. That's understandable. You're moving away from the utility, a little bit to the bank, the rest is yours to save. And we've helped people across the state do this. Here's the thing though, the best terms for the green mortgages come if you have an energy assessment first. So again, more and more reasons to get these things. But as I mentioned, the infrastructure, the revolving green loan fund, the infrastructure law that passed in November includes $250 million allocated to states to set up a green loan fund run here in Wisconsin to help upgrade homes and commercial buildings, to help make sure that they're investing in improvements that pay for themselves over time. This is not just a home improvement program, it's an energy efficiency program. We don't necessarily know that the majority of them are going to go to homes. They may end up going to commercial buildings unless we get as many homeowners as possible to sign up and try to be first in line. This has to be, according to the law, it has to be launched within 1 year of the passage of the law, which means anytime between now and November, they're going to have this launched. And Wisconsin is actually one of the few states that didn't already have one of these things. Minnesota does, Illinois does, Michigan does. And so we have a chance to not just catch up, but maybe learn from experience and do it better. It will be run from Madison under the Evers administration. Details are still being kind of figured out. However, it actually is spelled out in the infrastructure law. You are required to have an energy assessment of the home first to qualify for this. So you want to be first in line? Well, again, get an energy assessment. So we want to help people, again, be first in line for doing so. So even if you don't think you can afford it out of pocket, even in light of rebates, there's likely going to be a way to make that happen very soon. So in closing, consider an energy assessment. Ours started about $350, although there are other assessment options available. Like can do lead paint assessments of your home. We can assess your air leakage of your home, your air quality of your home. We can look at solar on your home. But in closing, consider it, because why? Well, it's been shown to help home value when you want to sell. It helps show you how to best stay warm. It can help access City of Milwaukee rebates and grants, or guide you through which ones you may or may not be eligible for. Gives you special access to green mortgage options that you may be able to work with a mortgage lender on, either when you're buying or refinancing a home. And it can help make you first in line for a infrastructure green loan fund, a green revolving loan fund. And so again, the video that you just saw is listed there. I'm going to put this in the chat right now. I have had the good fortune to actually provide energy assessments to many people on this video already. And so maybe they can also speak to you out later about whether or not they think it's a good idea. But I certainly hope so. And lest you think that I'm encouraging people to do something that I wouldn't do, this is my house. I had one on my own home too, and we happily have found many improvements to follow, thanks to the green mortgage that I was able to get through this energy assessment from another company in town. So that's the main thing for us. But the last piece I want to quickly say is we are actually looking for people that want to consider come working for us. We are a growing organization and we're very excited by this. We just are about to open a brand new office that once it is finished being upgraded, which of course takes longer than you think, you're all invited to come, COVID safe, of course, to come and see. But in the very near future, we're going to be looking for lead abatement and energy specialists. We're going to be looking for green homeowners, organizers, and outreach experts. We're going to be looking for insulation and air sealing specialists. We are a union employer with the laborers union. We provide good wages, benefits, health, vision, dental, pension, HRA, job training. We see this as a career. This isn't a gig. We want people who wake up every morning excited to fight climate change and to do so where it matters the most, in our homes. So that's kind of it for now. I probably went way over my time, but I'll make sure that people who have any questions reach out to me or check out that website with the video and how to sign up too.
Kevin, thank you. And you actually stayed within your time, and I was,
Hey,
and I will continue to give Nicole full 20 minutes and maybe, but let's open it up for any comments or questions. Mabel, I know that there is, in certain parts of our neighborhood, there are neighborhood improvement district funds available also to help people.
Yes, there are. There is a $5,000 grant that is available through Sherman Park Neighborhood Improvement District number 4. So those who reside in Sherman Park NID are eligible to utilize those funds to do the energy assessment, to do the any kind of upgrades. And if you've used it, right? If you want to share maybe a little bit.
Yes, I had just under 5,000 left on my NID, money available to me through my NID. So it paid for my whole project to insulate my attic, which was kind of a complicated. It wasn't the same as just blowing in the insulation that they was the first option. I had to have actual insulation installed in the ceiling. And I have a really funky attic, large. And then I had the air sealing done in the basement, where the wall of the basement and the top and the lower part of the house, I don't know what that's called, the rim joint or something, they were all filled in with foam insulation. And a brand new furnace. It was about a $10,000 project. I only had to pay a little over $2,000 out of my own pocket with the rebates and the NID money. So it was definitely worth it.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's a testimonial.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah. So, and some of the rest of us, it's a working with Kevin and working with his crew is a great process. They're great people, and connecting with contractors who have done do really great work. And so, and Steve, you have any comments? Anybody else?
Our furnace guy was in for the furnace checkup. He gave it a big A. All of a sudden he was looking at all the seams off, and he even got the rivets.
Yeah.
So he was really impressed. He said that's such a phenomenal idea, is just to cover those vents downstairs. There's so much leakage. He said he got all covered. He said that was awesome. So A+ from our heating guy.
The other thing too about the rebates is there's the city, the ME2 rebates, but also I got rebates from Focus on Energy, which is a state program.
Mm-hmm.
You have to qualify to be for a certain income to qualify for the higher rebates, which I got. So I was happy for the lower income at that point.
Yeah. I mean, the opportunities, Kevin.
The one thing that I was just going to say to echo what Steve has said about the basement is in your basement, for anybody who's listening to this, there is something that should often be done on most furnace systems that very few heating guys ever get around to do. And I hate to pick on them, but just to if you have a certain room that you think right now is too cold or too not the right temperature, go down to your basement right now, look at the metal ductwork that comes off of your furnace. And you will notice at every corner, connection joint, where one piece of metal touches another piece of metal, you might find little gaps and cracks in it. You might find little areas where air can conceivably leak out. And consider this, that the furnace fan has to blow so hard to push air throughout your home and suck it back in to heat it up and restart the process, that oftentimes it leaks out of those little gaps and cracks, meaning that the heat does not actually get to the intended location that it's supposed to go. And so I know a lot of people who think, oh my gosh, my furnace is not right, I need to get a bigger furnace. Often no, you can just do a little bit, and this is sometimes a DIY project too, for those who are interested, is sealing the ductwork, is to cover those little gaps and cracks with a material called mastic or mastic tape. And that little bit can help make those rooms feel a little less cold or even more energy efficient.
Great.
And the
Go look
heating
in your basement
guy-
right now.
the heating guy said they have all the stuff on the trucks. Nobody likes to do it. It's too much work.
Oh, yeah. So,
Oh, we'll bring them into the attic. I'll show them work.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So thank you, Kevin. Thank you for your good work. And I'm glad that it's spreading beyond the boundaries of Milwaukee and into Wisconsin and beyond. So thank you for all your good work and making a difference. Moving forward, we have Nicole Chavez, who works with Leah Holloway at Milwaukee Riverkeeper and Plastics Free Milwaukee, a movement that again has started here in Milwaukee. And Nicole, we thank you for being with us tonight to bring us up to date on this initiative to try to reduce the amount of plastic in Milwaukee and beyond. So Nicole.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for having Plastic Free MKE back so soon. I know we just presented in December, so I'm just going to be doing a little more background information. So hopefully I don't repeat too much of what Leah said last month, and then I'm going to break into our different initiatives. So let me just get my screen share ready. All right. Yeah, so again, my name is Nicole Chavez, and I am actually an AmeriCorps service member, and I'm serving with Milwaukee Riverkeeper as their sustainability coordinator. And through that, I'm working as the volunteer coordinator with Plastic Free MKE. So quick overview on Plastic Free MKE. Our goal is to reduce single-use plastics in Milwaukee and surrounding communities. We began as a grassroots movement. Plastic Free MKE isn't a single organization or like a nonprofit, but it's a movement of nonprofits, businesses, and government agencies. We're supported and driven by community volunteers at all stages. So this is a very volunteer-oriented organization. And we hope to provide a model for other community movements. So our dream is to have, like a plastic-free Madison or something kind of modeled after what we've put together. Milwaukee Riverkeeper has their annual spring cleanup every year. And every year they noticed that most of the trash that was being picked up was single-use plastics or other plastics. Instead of starting a whole brand new initiative, Milwaukee Riverkeeper teamed up with a group of dedicated community members who were also looking to curb plastic pollution in Milwaukee. And there are several reasons why Plastic Free MKE has focused on combating plastic pollution. So we can all see that plastic is littered in our neighborhoods and environment, but there's also more dangers posed by plastic than just beyond the litter. Plastic is a climate change issue and it's a health issue. Plastic drives climate change in a couple ways. So when it breaks down, plastic releases methane, which is a really powerful greenhouse gas. I think it's 84 times more powerful than CO2. Plastic is also made from fossil fuels. So oil companies profit from making single-use plastics and disposables. Another problem is that plastic doesn't decompose. It just breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces called microplastics. And these microplastics get into our air, our food, our drinking water, and our bodies, and they stay there. And there are some chemicals in plastics that have been linked to detrimental health effects on the human body, like hormone disruption, cancers, And unfortunately, there's not a lot of research on the long-term health effects of microplastics on our bodies. So we're doing what we can to remove them, to remove plastics from our environment before they become microplastics and make their way into our food and our water and our air. Yeah, so there are several things that we're doing to combat the issue, thanks to our coalition. And this is our Plastic Free MP Coalition. There are some organizations that have pledged to collaborate with Plastic Free MKE. So we have over 40 coalition members altogether, and I believe at least 18 of them are participating in our working groups. And we have 5 different working groups. Those are going to be lake-friendly, DEI, education, policy and strategy, and reuse. And all of those working groups are created to attack plastic pollution from all different angles. These are the initiatives that Plastic Free MKE and our working groups are involved in or have been involved in. So we do grocery store educational initiatives. We do near zero waste events and runs, city and county purchasing and protocol. We have our lake-friendly programs, community outreach and education. We do boomerang bags and our water refill stations. We help restaurants, cafes, bars, food trucks reduce their single-use plastics through our lake-friendly program. We educate the public about the dangers of single-use plastics through our plastics education toolkit and public events. And our plastics education toolkit is available to everybody. It's on our website. We hope people use it as a teaching guide. We reduce waste at walks, marathons, and other events. We promote plastic policies and initiatives at the local and state level. For example, we're trying to come up with some questions for the upcoming mayoral candidates to find their different stances on plastics and what they plan on doing about it in Milwaukee. And we provide water refill stations at social justice events, marches, and protests. And our water refill stations, our water refill program began in the summer of 2020 in an effort to provide a sustainable drinking water option at racial justice events. So we worked with volunteers to staff both stationary and mobile refill stations. And the mobile refill stations are pretty cool. They're pulled by bicycles and they go alongside those that were marching at the events, so people can get their water bottle refilled on the go. And we also distributed hundreds of reusable water bottles and refilled water bottles that activists had brought with them. And through these refill station efforts, we saved thousands of single-use water bottles from being used and discarded. And we could use your help with this initiative. So if anyone is aware of any events, coming up in the summer, spring, fall, that could use a water refill station, it doesn't have to be just social justice events or marches, it can be anything. So just reach out and let us know. And we're also always looking for volunteers to staff our water refill stations. So if that's something that you would be interested in doing, you can also reach out to me as well. And I'll have all my contact info on the last slide. And after my presentation, I'll copy it into the chat as well. All right, so some more information on our lake-friendly business program. And so around the corner, around the edges of this slide, you'll see all of our lake-friendly businesses. And although all these businesses that you see on the slide are restaurants, this program isn't just for food service businesses. Any business or organization can work to become lake-friendly. The businesses on this page have committed to working with us to become lake-friendly businesses by taking these 6 steps. So they have to provide reusable tableware. They can't use any styrofoam. They need to follow proper recycling practices. They need to provide compostable straws and stirrers, but only on request. Provide compostable options for to-go orders and not use any plastic bags for their to-go orders. And there's also another supplementary step that they need to take, like putting a cigarette butt container outside of their business, something like that, but they've got some more options. And you can help this program by patronizing these businesses, thanking them for their efforts and encouraging them to go even further with the reduction of single-use plastics. And we have a whole webpage dedicated to our lake-friendly businesses with a map that shows where they all are too. So if you guys are looking for them, feel free to visit our website. You can also help by becoming a lake-friendly business volunteer. And as a lake-friendly business volunteer, you'd be reaching out to local businesses that you think would benefit from becoming lake-friendly and gauging their interest in the program. And we're actually holding a new training session for those that would like to become lake-friendly business volunteers in February. An exact date hasn't been picked yet, but it'll be sometime in February. So if you're interested in volunteering, again, just reach out to me. Yeah, because we're looking to really expand this program this year. Last year, due to COVID, it was kind of, last year and the year before, due to COVID, it was tough because we didn't want to put any more unnecessary burdens on our local businesses. But yeah, this year, we're hoping to really ramp up the program. And another way in which we're looking to expand our lake-friendly program is through lake-friendly neighborhood option. And I know that we have talked to some people from Sherman Park about this. So it's a possible future program. We're still trying to establish the appropriate guidelines. Some guidelines that we've brainstormed so far would be to designate someone to sign up for our email list, attend our biannual coalition meetings, share plastic-free MKE events on social media pages, visit businesses in or around your neighborhood to see if they would like to become lake-friendly businesses, and then consider joining one of our work groups. We're looking for neighborhoods interested in piloting the program and helping us to figure out what these guidelines would be and how realistic they are. So please reach out if you're interested in setting up a meeting to discuss this program any further. Like I said, we're really hoping to expand this program. Another program that we've got in the works is a partnership with RCUP. We've been in contact with RCUP to help expand our reusable container initiative. So RCUP is a reusable cup system that would replace single-use plastic cups. It's a program that's already been successfully implemented in Minnesota, and they are usually implemented in concert and sports venues. So we've had some promising meetings with them. So hopefully the next market that they'll be able to expand to will be Milwaukee. We have also had some interest from another usable cup company and have reached out to Summerfest and American Family Field in hopes of implementing a pilot program in one of their venues. And we would do this together, some data on how well a program like this would work and to figure out the logistics of it in Milwaukee. So yeah, hopefully we're able to see a reusable cup program here in the Milwaukee area really soon. And here are some other ways to join us in helping reduce single-use plastics in the Milwaukee area. You can learn with us during our monthly webinars. So our next webinar will be on February 28th at 5:30. And you can find the sign-up information on our social media channels when it comes available. It's not quite ready yet. We're still trying to work out the rest of the details. Some of the previous webinars that we have done have been on plastics in our water, recycling in Milwaukee, using brand audits to hold polluters accountable. We did a webinar on the Great Lakes, and we've done a bunch more. And you can find all of our webinar recordings on our Facebook page, and they're available to anybody. You can join our mailing list to stay informed. We send a monthly newsletter to keep everyone updated on any events, webinars, volunteer opportunities, anything like that, that Plastic Free MKE is participating in. There are also plastic-related articles included to keep readers informed on current events in plastic. They go out on the second Friday of every month, and we also share the link to our newsletter on our Instagram page in case someone misses it. And yeah, our January newsletter just went out last Friday. You could also share our messaging on social media. We have a Facebook and an Instagram page. So if you would like to follow us, and if you see anything that interests you, anything that catches your eye, anything that you think anyone else should know, feel free to go ahead and share that. And you can also talk with organizations in your neighborhood about joining together to take action against plastics. So you don't just have to go reach out to businesses about becoming lake friendly. You can talk to anyone about fighting the single-use plastics and reducing them. All right. And then one more thing that anyone can do that doesn't require volunteering or reaching out to businesses is taking the pledge. And I'm sure most of you already reduce your single-use plastic significantly. Our pledge is located on our website, and it focuses on improvement, not perfection. So there are different options when pledging. It's not like an all or nothing thing. You can pledge to refuse just plastic straws, plastic bags, cups, utensils, water bottles, or you can pledge to refuse all single-use plastics. It's really just whatever works for you. and whatever steps you want to take to eliminate single-use plastics from your own life. And this is a really great way to help because small changes really do make a big difference in the grand scheme of things. And if you're interested in getting involved in any of the programs that I mentioned, please reach out to me. I will go to the next slide so you guys can see my contact info. And again, I'll put it in the chat. All right, and that was about it that I had for plastic free. Does anyone have any questions on anything or any of the initiatives that I talked about?
Yeah, let's open it up. Thank you, Nicole. That's wonderful. Some great updates from your last presentation. Continuing to move forward to eliminate plastics.
That's the idea.
Yeah. So, and just to let people know that the Green Ambassadors have been meeting with Nicole and Leah Holloway from Plastics Free and talking about possibilities of becoming a plastic-free neighborhood or moving toward Sherman Park as a plastic-free neighborhood. So a lot of possibilities. Anybody have any comments or questions for Nicole?
I've been thinking lately about whenever I go shopping, I've become much better at always remembering my reusable shopping bags. And I'm at the checkout, the self-checkout, and it's like, people are using plastic bags right and left, and it's just more noticeable to me now. And if there was some way to get the word out, just to bring reusable shopping bags, even if it's a bumper sticker, someone could design a really catchy bumper sticker that wouldn't annoy anybody, but it would make them think about bringing those bags to the store.
That's a great idea, actually. We do have our plastic bag monster. I don't know if you guys saw the picture on the initiatives page. It's this little costume that we made. It contains 500 plastic bags. And that's because that's the approximate amount of plastic bags that every American uses per year. And I think it's between 500 and 1,000. So we set that guy up outside of grocery stores to get people to really think about their plastic bag usage.
I would imagine you'd have to get the permission from the store to put that out there.
We do, yeah.
And reminding people that if they do have some plastic bags, things come in plastic, even though we resist it sometimes, that you can recycle at Target and Pick and Save, and some stores will have plastic bag recycling centers in their stores. Any other comments for Nicole? So this kind of leads into, thank you, Nicole, thank you, Joe, and thank you, Kevin,
Thank
for your wonderful presentations. And again, this information will be up on the Sherman Park Facebook page, right, Mabel?
And that is correct.
Excellent. And the webinars are available from last year as we look toward this coming year. We're looking at potential webinars. So Nicole, one of the things that everybody's leading me to announce is that we have, I said this at the beginning, we're going to have our second annual Earth Day in May coming up on the Sunday, May 22nd. I'll make sure that that's right day and correct, in the afternoon, on a Sunday afternoon. And so that we can have broad participation from our variety, the wonderfully culturally diverse group of Sherman Parkers. And we're hoping that it will be at the Sherman Park. And that would be great to have a water refilling station and, representatives from these varieties of groups at our fair, at our Earth Day in May fair. And that also leads me to announce that for those of you who don't know, and there's a Friends of Sherman Park group that Dawn Turnipseed leads. Dawn is now a member of SPCA's board as well. And we'll hopefully have some more information about work that's being done in Sherman Park itself in coming announcements and webinars. So we're in the last 10 minutes or so, if we could pick your brains, those of us who are still on board. We're looking at future webinars and wanting to get some ideas from everybody. And Steve and Ann as two of our, and Lauren as our gardeners and connectors with CSAs, organizations that are growing organic vegetables and making them available to people. But we're thinking about in February of having a focus on the pre-work that needs to be done as people are preparing for their gardens. Steve and Ann, do you want to talk a little bit about what we might be doing and get some input from other people?
And you want to go
Lauren.
first?
Sure. Well, one of our thoughts was to possibly focus on beginner gardeners, just the basics. Not everyone is at at the level where they're expanding their gardens. They just want to know, where do I get the plants, or what's the best soil to use? And what if I don't have a backyard garden or room for one, or I don't have enough sun in my backyard? Can I go to a community garden? Where would that be? Just the real basics, and then maybe touch on if people had other questions about more advanced techniques. That was just one of our thoughts.
Then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about different growing methods, straw bales, mound gardening, raised gardens, the trugs that I have. Talk about that a little bit, how to get all that started, and then seed catalogs. And then talking about ordering seeds. And believe it or not, you got to get going on it. Because last year I ordered in March and they were sold out. Number of things that I was after. Because there's really a growing group of people that are doing backyard gardening. So it's important to kind of get a jump on it. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then talk a little bit about the whole thing of how do we collect water, the rain barrels and things of that nature. So just kind of a overview of just good backyard gardening.
Just even also clay pot irrigation, where you sink the clay pots in the soil. And I know last year, the 2 drought events that we had were just killing me watering stuff. So I decided this coming year, I'm going to sink more clay pots to make watering my plants simpler. So that would be a topic to talk about too.
And this is an example of how we're seeking to resource each other and engage people in helping each other with gardening, to share a lot of the expertise that's available in our community, and to connect people with resources like Kevin and Joe and Nicole were talking about, connecting with people with resources that will help them get their gardens going and have successful gardening for the summer and into the fall. So that's probably going to be happening in February. And I'm thinking we've found that this 6 to 7:30 time seems to work for people. And Zoom is still a good way for us to bring people together. And there'll be hopefully more opportunities for people to come together to learn from each other in person in the future as well. Other ideas, and please feel free to put them in the chat. Any other ideas about webinars related to our environmental work here in Sherman Park that you would think we might want to consider? Open it up to everybody.
I would say, how about we consider having 1 or 2 of the webinars outside? Once the weather is better. Just a thought.
So the webinar presenter outside, or just?
Maybe the presenter, maybe they're actually working in the garden. We can film it, or, something like that.
Steve, I think you took us on a tour of your backyard garden, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's great.
The dumb computer.
Have people actually showing us how they create their gardens and maintain their gardens. That would be wonderful. Other ideas. We've done programs on solar. We've done programs on energy efficiency. We've done programs on well, some of the things that we presented tonight, trees and plastics free. One of the initiatives we're talking about in order to increase community engagement is to create a green neighborhood and green neighbors program where you adopt your block and work with your neighbors. Lauren has experience and others do as well in an eco neighborhood or an eco village kind of idea, where we're really building the amount of connections amongst people, and that's happening through the webinars and in varieties of ways. People already have some of those. So we're working on developing a green neighbors initiative. If you're interested in that, just get in contact with Mabel, but we'll have some more announcements about those kinds of things. But we'll be looking for people to help develop that, and for people to be involved in the branch out program and the tree initiative. So other ideas? Did anybody else have any other ideas about webinars? And something may come up to you after we're done, zip it off to Mabel at the Community Association.
Yep, I was just gonna say, Tim, maybe we can do an environmental justice 101 webinar and explain what that means to the community.
That'd be great.
That would be great. Yes.
That'd be fun.
In fact, related to that, Dynasty Caesar and some of her partners, Dynasties with the Eco Neighborhood Program, they are developing a environmental 101 type of program, and it probably will have justice dimensions of it, but why we're doing this work. So yeah, I think that would be great. We're also hoping to continue our tradition of big cleans in the neighborhood and encourage that. We had a webinar with Zoe from Keep Greater Milwaukee Beautiful, one of our other partners and partner around the city. So we'll be doing some more about recycling and effective recycling. I've noticed my wonderful neighbor who recycles all the time, but she puts her recycling in plastic bags and then puts it into her recycling, which is something we really try to avoid. So we need to do some more education around recycling. So other ideas.
We were
So
thinking about the cooking.
Oh yes.
We got to revisit that, I think. Some just basic cooking out of the garden, using dried products, creating soups, things of that nature. So Lauren, she's our go-to chief for that, chef.
Yeah. At the last webinar, I think people expressed interest in cooking, but
Yeah.
also just being able to buy things in bulk to keep
Mhm.
extra on hand.
Yeah. So we got to get going on that. So that'd be
Well,
good.
and related to that, buying things in bulk, how do we create, thinking about you, Jennifer, and Mabel, and all of us, how do we create green businesses?
Yeah.
How does Sherman Park become a green job creator, as we've been talking about, and maybe the creation of green businesses?
Yeah, I think with a lot of education, and also with like show and prove. Senator Taylor was just in our bid district talking about the green jobs and green initiatives and growing power. And she showed some machines where you can grow vegetables inside in some of these vacant spaces. And most of us had never seen anything like that. Everybody on this call may have seen something like that, but most of the business owners, we had never seen any of that. And the way that she had an angle of, the building is already vacant. You could, utilize the space, but also it could be profitable and it could help because we're in a food desert over here on Center Street, at least. And so I think education and showing individuals, because a lot of the concepts today, I don't have a lot of clues about the gardening and the planting and things of that nature. So my comment was, I really appreciate the 101, like the basic stuff. Even thinking about planting vegetables and in the backyard. I was just wondering, can we even put seeds in our dirt because we have, you know, we mow our grass and put grass seeds. See what I'm saying, Steve? I don't
Yeah,
know.
right.
It's
Lead
so,
content, getting
Lead
soil
content,
soil
lead
assessment.
test,
Yeah.
yes,
very important.
yes.
Beverly,
definitely.
did you
And
have
also-
something? I think Beverly had something,
Who's Beverly?
right? With synagogue. She had her,
Oh,
it looked like she was gonna say something. Maybe not, maybe she just,
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ann, you were gonna say, I'm sorry.
Well, even Jennifer, as far as basics of gardening, just what time of year, what time of this growing season do you plant certain crops? Which crops aren't going to tolerate early spring weather and which crops will? And really the soil is everything. So that's where we'd have to get down into the nitty gritty of soil.
Yeah.
down in dirt.
Get down in the dirt.
Yes.
So Mabel, any last comments? We were encouraging people to put May 22nd on their calendars, and then we have the Bloom and Groom that's going to be blooming sometime soon.
Yes, so just a quick update on the Bloom and Groom. We have had the Bloom and Groom with Lowe's for the last probably decade. In the last couple of years, unfortunately, it got canceled due to COVID. So this year we are going to try our luck working with a local vendor. And that would be Fred's Garden Center on Appleton. He is planning to grow our plants. So what we're going to do is create an order form. Once we conclude our meeting with Fred, we'll create an order form, make sure it gets to all the residents, and then the plants would be scheduled to be delivered during that Earth Day in May, May 22nd. So that is the tentative plan right now. So we'll keep you posted on that. But there's a couple other events coming up I wanted to make you all aware of. First off, there is the Sherman Park NID number 4 annual meeting, which would be held on Tuesday, February 1st at 6 p.m. It's going to be via Zoom. Also, that will be posted on the SPCA website. And then there is the spring primary election. We are looking for volunteers to help host our SPCA polling site at the Mary Ryan Boys and Girls Club, and that's February 15th. Polls open at 7 a.m. And if you're interested, you can always call me, 414-704-6005, or email me at mabel.l@shermanpark.org. And
Voters Forum.
oh, the voters forum. I was going to ask you about that. What date did we finally schedule on the voters forum? Steve, I'll let you take over that part.
How many times do I have to send you that note?
I know. Can't remember.
The 10th.
That
So
is
our
right.
voters forum is settled for Thursday evening, the 10th, from 6 to 8. And everybody is committed. So they are all going to show up. Even the newest edition on Friday. Got a hold of her right away on Friday, and she's good to go. So we'll have all of them there. And next week, I'm going to get an email out. You can start sending me your questions. We ask the questions. We do not let anybody hold forth and take too much of the microphone time. So the questions, it's a round robin. 2 minutes to introduce themselves and 2 minutes to answer each question, 3 minutes to round it up at the end. And we have a timekeeper and everything. It flows very well. People are very receptive. I don't think, oh, you know what, once last year, didn't Mabel? What's the name from the South Side didn't show up until late. Otherwise, everybody shows
Oh,
up.
yeah. Everybody shows up. It's a
yeah.
good way to
Yeah.
engage some of these candidates to know what they're thinking. The questions are usually really good questions. So I think it's beneficial when you get this information, please share it with everyone. We want people to know who our candidates are running for mayor. Because the primary, once again, is coming up on the 15th, and then we'll have our general election in April. So that voters forum on February 10th will be recorded on the SPCA website, as well as it will be shown Facebook Live. So we hope to engage many people in the community around this effort.
It's pretty
Thank you.
amazing. I've only had one person quit. She just ran out of ideas. I was so shocked. I was just like, really? She got up and left. She said, I can't think anymore.
Well, I really appreciate all the ideas that are coming out of this group and our Sherman Park residents and Milwaukee partners, and the efforts that everybody's putting into green, not only Sherman Park, but Milwaukee, the state of Wisconsin and beyond. So Joe, Nicole, Kevin, thank you so much for your time and your continued partnership with us and your good work, your good green work. And Mabel, thank you for all the, and Jermaine for all the good work of the Community Association and all of us who are part of it.
Oh, you
So stay tuned for the next webinar. It'll probably be on a Thursday night toward the end of February, and we'll get the word out much quicker.
Isn't it the 17th, Tim?
Well, either the 17th or the 24th.
Okay,
So
we had said already.
Okay.
Could I just add one additional thing about the voting? If you want to vote absentee, please go online and order your ballots to be mailed to you. I think it's milwaukee.gov vote or something like that. milwaukeevote.gov.
Good.
Not sure, but
I don't remember.
Is
You
it
Google-
my vote? Is it my vote?
My vote, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody who has participated tonight, and share this webinar with others. It'll be up on this SPCA website probably in the next couple of weeks. So,
Good.
all right. Keep
Thank
voting
you.
green,
All
keep
right,
working for
folks, have
green.
a good
everybody.
night.
May your,
Everybody.
yeah. Good night,
Good night.
everybody.
Mabel,
Take care.
Mabel, you want to stay on for a sec?
Sure.